after Jesus has commissioned the disciples, and there is unfinished business. We know that Peter has denied Jesus 3 times, and each of the Gospels, except for Mark, finishes with the ongoing mission of Jesus enacted. Mark foreshadows it, but he doesn't particularly mention it. But Matthew, Luke and John all understand that the ministry of Jesus is going to go forward in his mission. John takes a moment to talk about the restoration of the Apostle Peter. And so this is a moment where forgiveness is offered and accepted by Peter. And so this is a very important moment for the gospel going on mission, because Peter, as one of the leaders of the apostles, is restored. Now we know that the Lord asks him 3 times, "Do you love me?" 3 times Peter says, "Of course I love you." 3 times Jesus says, "Feed my sheep." And so Jesus wonderfully restores Peter in a moment of forgiveness for his betrayal. And then he makes a prophecy about Peter and says that you are going to be taken where you do not want to go, and you will be lifted up. And that's understood as a reference to Peter's death. That Peter would die a death like Jesus on the cross that will glorify Jesus. And we know, according to church history, that Peter was crucified upside down. Peter is a very headstrong, you know that phrase? Headstrong disciple. He always will speak first and think later. Okay? And in this moment, I think what he's saying is, well, that's all very well for me. What about him? And in the gospel, if you look every now and then, John and Peter seem to have a little bit of a rivalry. They have a foot race to the tomb, you know, and so on. So I think Peter's saying, if I have to die on the cross, what about John? And so basically, Jesus says, that's none of your business. Okay? Jesus says, if I decide that John should stay alive until I come again, that's not your problem. What I have for you is your area. And then he says, your responsibility is not to look around, your responsibility is to follow me. So, is it directly related to the mission? No, it's indirectly related to the mission. Peter is restored to lead the mission. It's in the context of a chapter where the mission is going to go forward. But the question was, well, Peter was asked to follow, and we continually mention the word go. So I'm going to combine 2 answers here. I think this is your question, sir, about what does it mean to actually go. And I want to say that following Jesus means you go. Now that sounds strange because we're moving in 2 different directions. Go seems to go away and follow seems to come. But the Lord Jesus also said, whoever will come must take up his cross and follow me. And that's the life of discipleship. And if what I think is correct in my first point, if we're about the Father's business, then the life of discipleship is following Jesus, which means we go in his name. So that's and the other classic verse that people go to here, of course, is the Great Commission. Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 and 20, which says, go and make disciples of all nations. I think that's telling the disciples specifically to go, but the word translated go there can also be translated as you go. And what that means is wherever you go. And so some people, of course, the Lord will call to go overseas or go to another village or go to another part of the country as part of their discipleship. But we're all going somewhere. So whether you're going to the market, whether you're going to the hospital, whether you're going home, you are going. And will you take the opportunity to testify to the Lord Jesus as you go?